I had this first. This one's called Focus. In Madison County, there's a barbecue restaurant. Pardon? JR Barbecue and Such. More than just barbecue, it says hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, chicken fingers, chicken wings, onion rings, and french fries. And I'm thinking, y'all are not focused the way you should be focused if you're working a pit and making good barbecue. I'd have been happier if I saw a sign that said, just barbecue, damn it. I can get fries at Hardee's. And this is the haiku with it. Rincon, Georgia, with my barbecue plate, a dill pickle wedge. Thank you. Oh, speaking of thank you, I want to thank Alex for this opportunity. I want to thank my family for, one, for giving me material, but for many other things. And also my writers groups, the Wednesday Morning Dunderos group, which includes our friend Bob here, and Mark Bromberg, who you may know, and Penny Noah, and the Tuesday group, Amanda Jamansky and J.R. Barner. Thank you. Shakespeare play when she was little, watching in long speeches for spit spray. 6th grade, he chats by flashlight Morse with a neighbor friend. My parents' wedding photo, so young. I asked Mom, what did you say? And she said, I don't know, I wasn't listening. Mom says it's weird, I'm now older than she is. She calls John, Jim, Tom, then points, you know who I mean. 3rd child, when he first stands, she says, no. This is another high bun that's called Burn. Home from college after a night out with friends, I came back to my parents' house. In the family room, my dad was reading a book. When I came in, he looked up. I said, don't you hate when you burn the roof of your mouth on that first bite of pizza? And my dad says, why would you do that twice? I'd always felt we were very different, but that somehow crystallized a feeling that it was pointless for me to think I'd ever be like him. I realized later I tended to notice things about Dad and I that were different and not notice what was the same. And then I did the reverse with my mother. Here's the poem. My old man eyebrows, a memory of Daddy laughing hard. Wrote their own vows. Mom asks, did they mention God? Tossing the bouquet, a clump of young career women keep hands at their sides. Carrying sleeping daughter with each of his steps, the slight wave of her feet. 4-year-old watches as I rub on Rogaine. It's not working, Dad. This one's called How to Get a New Hairdo Noticed. Someone asked, what do you think of older men letting their hair grow long? Probably someone on Twitter or Facebook. I don't have strong opinions. My wife, however, didn't like it when it was long, but not long enough for a ponytail. She said I looked like Benjamin Franklin. The first poem, last fall's leaves, a medical chart growing thicker. Except Ben didn't have a beard and I do. A Japanese cab driver saw me with my beard and long silver hair and burst out laughing, Santa Claus! Long winter, a flash of green, a hipster's hair. For the first time in our lives together, my wife started not only noticing, but complimenting it when I got a new haircut. January, the pale moon smile in on the joke. pesky dear friend, the little girl makes a play cake with cocoa, butter, sugar, and half a cup of pepper. Girl spills silver glitter, for weeks her family sparkles. Finishes her candy bar, even on her back, chocolate. I'm going to insert an anecdote. When my daughter was about this tall, I called her Shorty. And one day she looked up at me and said, "Isn't that like calling someone fat?" And that was the end of that nickname. What a lovely daughter, the waitress says, as I'm figuring the tip. In the door, I didn't notice that until I went to the same restaurant without her. After they'd done that to me 2 or 3 times, and as I was trying to think of what's 20% of a number, I noticed no one was complimenting Caroline. In the doorway at tap dancing class, a mother tries a step. Fit of giggling in the corps de ballet, not one step missed. Ballet recital king, the cloak makes me sweat. What's a regal way to scratch? And I'm about as Japanese as collard greens and grits, but I'm going to borrow my dad's Japanese robe for this. Spring break cold snap. Teenager tries to get a tan on her goosebumps. Hair so fine and pale, big sister calls him Fester. 11-year-old meets newborn brother. Take him back, he squeaks. 2 weeks old tries to suckle his dad. Digging in his pocket for change, pacifier. Dropping son at school, the smell of cut grass. Grandpa always says we'll pick the Christmas tree, but he always picks. Holding the thought, when my son is difficult, I was worse. On the desk of the guidance counselor, unicorn statue. Summer morning, faintly from the room above, ballroom blitz, ballroom blitz. Fall chill, the baby's senior year, patting him more. He's gone to college, now upstairs thunder is only thunder. 30 years married, in-season cantaloupe, perfectly ripe. Winter night, when we touch a spark. And this one is basically Jane's story that I wrote down. It's called Doll Baby. Dr. Jane was examining a woman in the nursing home when the patient's roommate spoke up. The 80-year-old was holding a beautifully dressed doll. "This is my baby. Do you want to look at her?" And Jane said, "What's her name?" "Margaret Ann. She's 2 months. Does she look about that old?" "Sure." "I'm expecting twins, they tell me." "Well, you're going to be a busy lady." After she left the room, Jane asked the nurse, "Did you know Mrs. Barrett's roommate is expecting twins?" And the nurse says, "Uh-huh. She tells us Jake, the ambulance driver, is the father." Deep in the woods, the knock of something unseen inside a hollow tree. Not much cause for hope. My father's oncologist has the same shoes as I do. Now, this next is from when Dad had had his first surgeries and was in the rehab facility. In his wheelchair, leading like a general before his troops. Hospital bed, 80-year-olds spooning. Hospital window, dogwood blossoms, one last time. Summer heat, deciding to up his morphine. After he's gone, his plastic vampire teeth in a drawer. Dad's death, hometown a little less home. Traveling a lot, on waking, where am I? Returning from my father's funeral, I try to open my front door with the key to my parents' house. Old photo, my father sailing with that smile. By the tiller, the sound of a dolphin taking breath. And I thought I wouldn't end with Dad dying. So this one's called Today. The governor accepts full responsibility for the succotash, but fires his secretary of buttered vegetables. A Cocker Spaniel wants to make it in rock and roll, so he's working on his hair and wardrobe. He has a potent whine, a magnificently suggestive growl, and those eyes, baby. The first model wears a dress of baked lima beans and cheddar cheese sauce. Everyone with the necessary $2,000 will be wearing one soon. Of course, it won't do in this outfit to stand too close to the buffet. A pork chop dreams of becoming president. 3 years before the elections, the polls have him at 32%. I'm thinking about you, RFK Jr. An alarm clock stands on the 12th story ledge, no longer able to take the verbal and physical abuse. A desperate band of poodles captures the jet and holds the hot dogs hostage. Thinking the terrorists are unarmed, the police close in but freeze when the pilot radios about the 6-foot tub of mustard. I don't write too many romantic poems. I wrote one that was from my deep, mushy self one time when I had to do a sestina, and I was so busy making the pattern work that I said what I really felt instead of being the smartass that I usually am. But this one is more of the latter. Love at the wheel. Love grinds the gears. Love jams the gas pedal flat. Love doesn't give a damn about the oil filter. This is called The Beauty Parlor. As Linda put the rollers in, her customer said, "After the wreck, my family was scared I'd go crazy when I saw my face. Every bone in my face was broken. I didn't care. I was just happy to be alive to care for my children. Had surgery to wire the bones together, then plastic surgery, again and again." Now Linda's a good person, but this was a little perplexing for her. Adjusting the perm before drying, she said, "After my little dog got hit by a car, the vet said she'd need plastic surgery. When I asked why, he said she'll be ugly. And I said she won't know." Thank you.